You too.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Remember our first Zoom meeting when I told you how I was like focusing my energy on my chakras, and you said
Yeah.
like my imagination is very strong.
hmm
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that. So this is right up my alley, man.
Exactly. Exactly.
Can't
Yeah,
wait
because
for this.
yeah, like I was saying, visualization is just your control over your imagination, just like concentration is your control over your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Control over your imagination. All right, I like that. I like that. Oh, so what? We waiting for more people to get up in here?
Yeah. 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 We got 2 more minutes.
Oh yeah, I forgot I joined this early.
Yeah, I did the same thing as soon as Jay jumped in. I said, "Oh, let's give it another minute or two." I'm like, "Oh, it's still 5 minutes till 8:30."
Oh, I was meaning to tell you like wait, wait. God dang it, I just forgot. Hold on. Let me think. Let
He'll
me
come
think.
back.
Come on. What was I trying to tell you? I was thinking about this all day. Come on, come on. That's it. Yeah. For my keys to success, I believe I started it on a Saturday, the course. It said come
Yeah.
back in a week, but since I really haven't been disciplined for it, I wanted to extend it for 2 more days, or three. Is
hmm
that all right?
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. It's a pace yourself. I mean, there's some people that go in there and they just absorb all 4 weeks before moving forward. And so like all at once. So it's fine, man. You know, it is good to that you're gonna do that because each week is kind of designed to like feed on a little bit more information that's like perfectly aligned, not perfectly, but designed for a person who's already done it like 7 days, the exercise. So by that point, you've kind of had an experience, a little bit deeper of experience with your relationship with your attention, what your attention is. And then after 14 days, something else, then 21 days, a little more is talked about. But I mean, however you want to do it, you can go through and read it all and then reapproach it after those 7 days, 14 days, 21 days. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
the main thing with the whole course isn't necessarily the information, but the experience. So giving yourself that experience every day and being disciplined, because that's what's really going to increase your willpower as well. But also is going to provide you with the experience to where when you do access that information, it's just going to be to pretty much give you more insight on what to look for, what to pay attention to, what to become more aware of, and things like that. Welcome, welcome. We got Michelle and Vibrania in the building. Vibrania, that's a awesome name.
Is it me? Does somebody else remember the name Vibranium? I know I'm not tripping. I remember that name from somewhere.
Black Panther, Vibranium. That's what made me think of.
I think I remember that name from a live or something.
1 second.
What'd you say? Yeah, Wakanda forever.
Oh gosh, I did not realize my my mic was open. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're well. Yes,
Oh well.
Wakanda Forever. That is definitely from Black Panther.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was fine. I was like, well, she got her mic on, but she's typing in the chat. Hey, whatever route you want to take, I don't care. Nice. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. And as people come in, they can just pick up where they left off. Anything they miss, it's recorded, so they'll be able to catch up, and you all can rewatch anything that you want, obviously. So just to kind of lay a little groundwork here in the beginning, um, as I decided like last week, well, like 2 weeks ago, I decided to do the Keys to Success course in here. And then I kind of just decided, you know what, all my future courses, I'm just going to give to like all of you as mentees. Um, and so to be able to access live and ask questions and things like that. And so, anybody that's not a part of the mentor program, they're they'll get access to it whenever whenever I get around to editing the recording and putting it up there. And I don't know if I'm going to do it like week by week and add this, because this visualization is going to go on the back end of the Keys to Success course. So the Keys to Success will be designed for increasing your concentration first for the first 4 weeks. And then after that, the 5th week is going to be this visualization course, week 1. So, I'll get into kind of how that's going to go along and things when we get into it. But also, one thing I can't stress enough is, feel free to interrupt me at any time with a question. Um, you know, I don't mind at all. Because, if you have a question, likely someone else is either thinking it or might think it, or, is unconsciously thinking it, so you never know. So those are kind of the main 2 things I want to talk about. And then afterwards, we'll do a little quick like QA if we have any other questions outside of visualization or anything that we're talking on. And then also, if anybody has any dreams, at the end, we'll go over those. I know most of us have been putting our dreams into the Discord channel and getting them interpreted then. So you might not have any, but I don't really think there were any today. So you might have some from last night. Who knows? Or just a question about your dreams. Who knows? So just want to throw that out there, kind of, and that's kind of how whenever we have a course to go over, like course material to go over in the weekly webinars, that's kind of how it's going to be designed. Is we'll go over the material first, and then have like the questions kind of space and dream interpretation space afterwards. But yeah, before we start, does anybody have any questions or insight or thoughts or comments?
I can't think of any right now, but I'm trying to think of
Okay. Awesome. Does anybody not know what visualization is? Beautiful. Okay. Well, I'm going to move forward as if none of you know what it is. All right. So, well, first let me ask a question. Who all here is enrolled into the oh wait, Jay said no. As I guess was that to not know what visualization is? Well, we'll go over it. We'll go over it. I just wanted to kind of be aware of. And then who all is enrolled into the Keys to Success course? Ready?
I know I am. I believe somebody else.
Is Jay? Okay. Anyone else? We got a hand raised by Brainy. Okay, nice. All right. All right. And out of you all, have you all already started doing the concentration exercise?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. So I'm coming back to it because I'm remembering how I wanted to format this. The very beginning, we'll just kind of talk about um, any questions you have on where you're at with learning how to interpret dreams from the Dream Masterclass course, and any questions and things about the exercises from the Keys to Success course. So like Marquez, what's your experience been like with the concentration exercise?
Well, at first it was a little hard because
Yeah.
anytime I try to concentrate on something, I'll just have a random thought pop up, or I'll just say to myself, concentrate, when I'm not trying to think or say nothing. And then after I get done doing that, like after I clear my mind or whatever, for some reason, every time I focus on my breath, but then I tell myself I got to focus on my eyes. But then when I say that, I'm saying stuff, but I don't want to say stuff. I just want to straight concentrate without thinking. But the hardest thing for
Nice.
me is anytime I concentrate, I always have to breathe manually. So then my attention is split. I got to focus on breathing and concentrating. But when I do that, it's still pretty easy. It's just doing it for a long span of time. Like doing it for what do you say, like 5 minutes for 20 times a day.
Hmm.
I believe that's about an hour. I had one question about that too. Is it fine if I just concentrate on something for 1 hour a day? Because that's
No,
the
you
same as
no, you definitely want to make it a daily practice. So I mean, if you want to go up to an hour and do an hour daily, shoot, I lead the way.
that's gonna be hard for me.
No,
But
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, because that's where the willpower part is going to come in, okay, and that's
Mhm.
where the exercise itself is like a microcosm of practicing concentration, and through being disciplined and regular every day, that's like the macrocosm of being concentrated. You know what I mean? You're focused on completing this task every single day, no matter what's kind of going on. You know what I mean? So you have your
Uh-huh.
attention on it throughout the day, each day, identify, okay, this is the space where I have planned out to do this. And so let me make sure I actually carve out the time to make it happen. So there is a level of attention needed in that aspect as well. So like just being disciplined with it is its own concentration exercise. And then that's going to also help increase your willpower as well, because willpower is making a conscious choice on something and following through with it. So the follow through part is where doing it every day is gonna come through. And I'm really glad that you talked about your awareness of where your attention is. That's really key. And that's one of the first kind of things that any new person to an exercise like this kind of comes to, is the awareness of what their attention is, you know, and realizing thinking about something is still a distraction. Your attention is on your breath. Like sometimes, and I'm sure some of you may have already had this experience where you thinking, like say the candle flame is what you're focusing on. You're thinking flame, 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 but your attention's on the thoughts, the thought of the flame, not the actual flame, and so um and it'll take time and practice, but eventually you will get to a point where you'll be able to just hold your attention there. Eventually you'll get to a point where you won't have to have your attention divided between your breath and the object of your concentration. So it's just continual practice. Just like if you went to the gym, and you wanted to go start doing some deadlifts or something, it's like, well, hold on, first let's strengthen your back a little bit before we go and try try these heavy exercises. And eventually you'll get up there. Start with the bar and then work your way up. You don't need to break your back with it, an hour at a time, once a week.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Anytime you concentrate on something. Oh, yeah. I forgot to ask you this. When you practice concentration, aren't you concentrating on an object for 5 minutes?
Yes, the concentration exercise. Yeah, start out with 5 minutes, and then when at least after 14, if you've done it 14 days in a row, at that point you probably definitely want to go up to 10 minutes. But if you practice it for 5 minutes a day, ideally after like 7 days, you should be ready to go up to 10 minutes. But yeah, you would either want to pick the flame or the drop of water, or the cloud in the sky, or the uh, second, or the hands on a clock. And that's mainly, like I was saying in the course, because the nature of the mind is motion. So you're kind of giving it a singular object, but one that has a little motion to it. And so it's like kind of like easing your way into it, like I was talking about, versus the object that you're picking is the tip of your finger, or a blade of grass or something like that, or a
Well,
drop of water
that's
on a
stuff
plate.
I've been focusing on. That's stuff I've been focused on. Things that don't move at all. And every time I do this, it seems weird at first, but then I just think it starts to get normal. Anytime I focus on an object that doesn't move, everything around it starts to get like turned grayish, or whatever
Yeah,
the main color is around it. It just starts to do that
good.
until it completely blends in with the object. And then when that
Uh-huh.
is, I have to refocus because I'm just letting my eyes get tired or whatever. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, no, it's not necessarily your eyes getting tired. It's the fact that you're able to still your eyes, which is a big deal, because not everybody can just start out doing that. And so that's what's called the negative effect. Your eyes become so static that the image becomes a negative, so it disappears. Like in music, if you have a chorus, I mean, if you have the acapella and the beat, and then you reverse the frequency of the beat. You just put it right on top of, you create the negative of it, you put it right on top of it, and then the beat disappears, and you have just just the vocals. So
I never
your
knew.
sight is the same way. When you have the negative effect, it disappears everything else except for what you're focusing on. So that's what one thing's going to happen with the still object, but that's another thing to like stick with. I would highly suggest the candle flame, just because a flame also has a very purifying effect. But yeah, so
I had that ability ever since I was a kid. Like I could just focus on anything, and then when I can just look somewhere straight, and I could just pick something out of anything that I'm looking at, and I could just
yeah,
make it disappear in like 10 seconds.
yeah.
I didn't know. I thought everybody can do that.
I mean, anybody can, but not everybody has enough, level of control over their attention to be able to keep their eyes still. Do that.
Oh wow! All right.
So yeah, that's what I would focus on this week is uh just really try to focus on doing it every day this week and see what that experience does for you.
All right. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Jay, what about you, Jay? What's your experience been like with that? Said you've been thinking about thinking. Okay. He says, well, basically the same thing, trying to stay focused. Okay. Good, good. What are you finding is distracting you? What are the distractions that are coming in for you? Just random thoughts. Okay, so mostly your thoughts. Okay, that's good. All right. Yeah, so the main thing with this exercise isn't really necessarily like how good you can hold your attention there. Early on, the biggest factor is becoming aware of when you're distracted. That's huge. And then the act of removing your attention from the distraction and placing your attention on the object of your concentration. That repeated movement of taking it from here to here, taking it from here to here. Like the more times you do that, the faster you're going to get good. So, if you realize you're distracted, 80 times, that's going to be a lot more practice than someone who realizes they're distracted only 20 times. And so you have, 4 times as many times of practicing, removing my attention from where I don't want it and putting it on what I do want. And then when you do put it on there, then you use your willpower to hold it there. Wanted to kind of remind you all of that. How many times this week did you do the concentration exercise? Did it 2 times? Okay. All right. So yeah, I would highly suggest to, no, it's not slacking. It's you've never done it, and then you're slowly getting into a habit of doing it. It's not anything to do with slacking. You did it 2 times. That's not slack. that's progress. So see, alter your perspective a little bit. Be a little easier on yourself. Yeah, and so I mean, strive to do it 7 times a day. If you hit the mark this week, then beautiful. If you don't, as long as it's more than 2 times, then great. You're doing good. 10 minutes while watching your video and realized I really can refocus without feeling like a failure. Beautiful, beautiful. Good. Yeah, definitely let go of that feeling if you ever feel that way, because failure is just a matter of non-learning. Um, so if you ever feel that feeling, and so this is like an example of how you can take the concentration exercise and then at a later point apply it to life. This is why it's the keys to success. If you have a feeling of failure, that is a distraction. That's no different than any other, an itch on your neck when you're doing the concentration exercise. After you've done it, 4 weeks in a row, you've practiced hundreds of times of removing your attention from something, what you don't want your attention on, and putting it on what you do want. So then in life, when you kind of have this feeling of failure at any particular time, like it sounds like you may have experienced in the past, just realize, oh wait, this is what I don't want. This is just a distraction. Failure, doubt, fear, worry, these are all just distractions in life. And so remove your attention from them, just like you've practiced hundreds of times, and then place it on your goal, what you do want, your desires. Place it on what you do want. And so that's where, being a metaphysician, being a scientist, that's why I like metaphysics. I say it all the time. I like the word metaphysics because it's a scientific term. And so, being a scientist is like having a controlled environment, your concentration exercise with the candle or the drop of water or whatever is a controlled environment where you're practicing your concentration. You're documenting your findings, you know. So, I mean, maybe journal. I would highly suggest, I don't put it in the course, but for you all, I would definitely 100% highly suggest when you do this, pull out a piece of paper and maybe have a notebook for it and just make a tick mark every time you realize you're distracted. One that's going to help you to acknowledge the distraction. So write today's date, 8/17/2022, and then just have your pencil sitting there ready to go. And then as soon as you realize you're distracted, you don't have to look down or anything, just make your tick mark. Your tick marks might be all over the place. Who cares? Just make your tick mark and then get ready for the next one and then bring your attention to the flame. Like me, when I was doing it, and it'll still to this day when I have my concentration exercises, when I realize I'm distracted, I'll take a deep breath. Well, like when I was doing this, I would make my tick mark, take a deep breath, then start all over, put my attention on the flame. And I think that might help you all too, especially early on. But yeah, still to this day, I'll still take a deep breath to kind of help myself reset and bring my attention back. Maybe it's because that's how I've always practiced, and you practice how you play, or maybe it's just because it also still helps. But anyways, yeah. So how many times have you done it, Vibranium? When did you start, Vibranium? B.
So I was very distracted in life in general, which is why I sent you that email.
Okay.
That I wasn't sure if I was opening up all of the right stuff. So I didn't start watching the videos until today.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I was literally watching, I was sitting out in the front and I'm watching your video and I'm listening to your words as I noticed that I've started to look at the gecko down, in the grass, or
Nice.
there's something on the tree. Just everything kept, ADHD brain. So I realized, I was doing that quite a bit, but when I was listening to your words of, okay, be aware that you have been distracted and just refocus back, bring your awareness back to where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you said it was without judgment, and I've not looked at it like that.
Yeah.
So I found that very, very useful. It's like, I can actually just hear you say those words, and I'll just bring my attention back where it should be, and not so guilty or bad that it keeps going out that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, be excited that you got distracted, because all that means is you get another chance to tell your attention where you want it to go. And the more times that you tell your attention where you want it to go, the more you become the master of your attention. It's like, it's like a stray dog you just brought into the house and are trying to domesticate it. It's going to take you a while, but every time that dog messes up, it's just another opportunity for you to tell it what you want it to do, and another experience for that dog to realize, oh, I need to listen. And so, if you're very lazy and you only tell that dog that it's doing something wrong and what you want it to do every other time that it messes up, it's going to take you twice as long to have a disciplined dog. And so your attention is the same way. There's definitely no need to judge it. As long as progression is the key to life. So as long as you're progressing, great. And even if you're not progressing, as long as you're putting effort in, great. Compared to the majority of people in life, that's way more than what most people are doing as far as effort, as in evolving and growing themselves and understanding themselves and upgrading themselves, versus being focused on upgrading a bank account or upgrading someone else's account at work, or upgrading the amount of gossip that other people have going on, or TV shows or whatever. No judgment on any of that either, but I'm just saying, if you're just putting in effort, you're doing a lot. So yeah, no, a lot of us are so hard on ourselves, especially people who are wanting to be more self-aware, because one, now it's so prevalent. You can see, like me, I've been doing this for like 10 years. So, you can see things that I talk about or do or say, or ways in which I act. And it's like, man, I want to get there. So there's a level of desire to grow and progress. But if you're doing it right, there's always going to be a level of desire to grow and progress. I've always, this whole journey, I've never felt content with where I'm at. Now that doesn't mean, I'm not loving where I'm at, but I've always had somewhere to strive to get to. And that's very key to like being in control of your ego. Because once you don't have somewhere you want to continue to go to, then that's when you're no longer leading the way and the ego's out front, like, hey, look how great I am. It's like, no, I mean, I think most everybody here has found me on TikTok or some social media platform. And so, you never hear me like talk about, oh, here's how great I am, because I don't see myself that way, because I've always have somewhere I'm trying to grow and continue to get to. So if you don't feel you're where you need to be, then that's right where you need to be as far as perspective. But also at the same time, be take it easy on yourself. You have the whole rest of your life to take your next step. So, yeah, for that, and that's for everybody I'm talking about, all of us, to kind of help us have a better perspective. 'Cause that's really all it's about. Those words from me just helped you shift your own perspective on how to see it. So it's beautiful, beautiful, awesome. All right. What about you, Desiree? Maybe that'd be great for you to kind of share just overall, ever since you very first started the concentration exercise, what it's done for you. I think you started it back in May, end of May, I think.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Well, it started out, well, first I started out not really doing it the right way. So I wasn't really making a lot of tick marks,
Hey,
and
you were
that I
doing
wasn't
it,
really noticing.
doing it right.
Yeah, I wasn't really noticing all of the times that all of the times I was distracted, just like certain types of distraction. But then when you broke it down for me a little bit more, then I started noticing a lot more areas of where I get distracted, either from like thoughts, or I would start focusing on my breath, or I'd stop breathing and then realize I wasn't breathing. So then my focus was on my breathing again, or my lack thereof. So I still have a lot of tick marks when I do the concentration exercise, but it was very obvious in my dreams when I started doing the concentration exercise, because my dreams went from being here and there and everywhere back to just like pretty focused. And then of course that made it a little bit easier to interpret them, because they weren't all over the place. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
when I kind of slacked on doing the concentration exercise, I could see my dreams starting to reflect that also. And then I got back on track, and then my dreams kind of went back to being more focused.
Yeah, yeah. Outside of your dreams, what have you noticed over the last few months? Like in your waking life, while you're awake, what have you noticed different about like and not just necessarily your mind, but maybe interactions with other people or anything? I don't know.
Well, just like I noticed, like when I'm doing the exercise, the different thoughts or whatever that come up and distract me, like throughout my day, like because I do a lot of thinking throughout my day, so it allows me to, if I start having a thought that is not very helpful for me, or if I start going, spiraling into some thoughts that, are not necessarily going to manifest into anything good, I notice that a lot more often, so I can redirect my thoughts all throughout the day when I notice that I'm having, just like you said, like thoughts of being a failure or anything like that. I've been able to redirect.
Nice, nice, good. Sorry, Michelle's saying she can't hear anything. Okay, awesome. Zen, great. Okay, you didn't miss anything, Michelle. We were just talking about the secrets of the universe and the nature of reality. That's all.
That's it. Nothing big. I'm so sorry. But thanks for
Oh, you're
having me.
fine. Yeah, wonderful. One thing I just want to ask, have you joined any of the courses yet?
Yes, I started the dream interpretation videos, and I just started the what do you call it, the keys to success
Okay.
today.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. That's what we have been talking about. So that's why I was asking you. So everybody was
Oh,
just kind of sharing their experience with it so far and just kind of like what things have been distracting them. Like, actually, I guess you probably read some of that at least. Um,
mm-hmm.
and then Desiree is, for anybody who doesn't know, like in case you didn't see it in the Discord, she's been a mentee since early May, and she's like, I mean, I haven't really told her this, but she's really one of the main reasons that all of you all are here, just because, and for this, and I was going to mention this part of it, but not necessarily that part, but these last 10 minutes especially is what I desired to have happen, that she was like the impetus of that thought, which is, like she was doing a lot and having so much growth and things. And I remember when I first started out, I actually had classmates and and the value of having classmates, because when I first started teaching, I teach a class of, 15, 20 people. And, slowly after you go so far along, and where I was teaching the school metaphysics, you start out with concentration exercise and a dream exercise, but then, you're piling on like a life force exercise, meditation exercise. And, eventually, they're having like read a 30-minute lesson every day. And so it becomes a lot. So people who aren't very self motivated or self disciplined kind of fade out. So after a while, 15, 20, 50 weeks, you slowly dwindle down to students. And so I can definitely, as a teacher at that time, I can definitely see a big difference in a student's growth and their desire and how fast they were growing when they had classmates versus when they didn't have a classmate and they were on their own, and myself as well, because I was, I've always been very disciplined ever since I very first started this journey. And so I would just outpace any classmates I ever had. And so I've, as a student, have experienced having a lot of classmates and having zero classmates. And there is a big difference, not necessarily as classmates, but just being able to listen to people who are having similar experiences, because especially like this concentration, you're probably not going to find anyone else in any type of spiritual community unless they're like, similar to us, that's practicing concentration every day. You know what I mean? And so you're being able to talk to people who are having the same experiences, the same initiations, when you like initiations as in when you expand so much, eventually you're going to come across your own limitations. Like, you know, a place in a dream is represents your state of mind, right? So if you're inside in a room and you have four walls, if you're expanding your consciousness, you're filling that space and you're getting bigger and bigger. So eventually you're going to come across all four walls. Walls represent limitations. So this is a good way to view it in your mind, to visualize it in your mind, is as you begin to expand and you come across these personal limitations like you know, um, self-doubt, you know, maybe as you continue going along, it becomes more and more prevalent in the front of your mind because you've been digging deeper and deeper within yourself and unearthing it. And so then it becomes really hard to really go forward. You start doubting yourself, and it's more intense than ever before, even though you're growing and doing things to go get further along, And so that's an initiation point, meaning you have to initiate more energy and effort to break through that wall, and so once you do that, then on the other side of that, you have a lot more space to continue expanding and growing. And some people at those initiation points, they don't expand and they kind of contract a little. And at a later time, they pick up more steam and give it another go. But I'm just saying all of that to say, when you have other people talking about the same things, and you haven't yet come to that initiation point but someone else has, and you kind of week after week hear how they're doing it and getting through it and growing past it, and then week 3 you start to see it in your own life, it's going to really help you a lot to have already listened to what they've experienced with it and how they got through it, and then we have the Discord chat, so you can just hit them up like, hey man, I'm having this going on, what can you tell me about, can you re-explain to me what you said last week or something? So like all of us sharing our experience with the concentration exercise. I'm certain that everyone who was able to hear it, unfortunately you weren't, Michelle, but you got to read a little bit. As you continue to go through it this week, I'm sure that at some point you'll kind of experience something that was talked about. And so there's a lot of value in having other people going through similar experiences. And that is the whole reason why I started a group mentor program. Because like if I kept doing one-on-one mentees like I've been doing the last few years, there's no way, even just the people, I mean, there's 17 people in the 17 mentees now. And so there's no way even just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in here. This is like the max I would be able to do. And I definitely wouldn't be able to give all that much attention and effort, communicating with each of you individually, interpreting dreams individually every day. It'd be a 24/7 job. So there's definitely no way I could do it for $10 a month, $50 a month, it'd be a full-time job. And so, but the desire for you all to have a space to grow together is the reason, and I can do it, virtually for free. What's, looking at my Discord a few times a day and putting together a lesson plan that I was already planning on putting together and having a once a week, that's nothing. I can do that for free all day long. So yeah, and Desiree says she's hitting some of that now, which is hilarious because we did kind of talk about that a little bit, and it was only like halfway through that I realized the example that I picked. So it's always funny to me because that happens all the time. All right, if we have time, I'd like to share my first experience. Awesome. Okay, we'll go ahead and share it now, and then we'll get into the course.
Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry I was late. I'm a little slow. So I was sitting here like, when's the meeting gonna start? But
anyway. No, you're fine.
No, I practiced this morning and was reading through the first lesson on concentration. And so hello to everybody, and sorry for chiming in so late. And if I'm repeating something, then forgive me. But I just wanted to comment on my experience. I did do the candle last experience with the concentration for 5 minutes. And I was able to focus on the candle visually, but my thoughts were all over the place. And I'm not sure if anybody mentioned that or if that was the struggle, but that's what I struggled with this morning.
Okay.
That's all I want to say.
And that was just your very first time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing that you didn't hear, but a lot of this that you'll realize going through is just going to be a shift in perspective. Is going to go such a long way. Like I think you said struggle like 4 different times. And so the more that you see it as a struggle, then the more you're going to experience it as a struggle. So like I was saying earlier, any just the fact that you're putting forth effort is progress. You weren't doing a concentration exercise last week. You weren't doing one yesterday. So every single thing that you did, whether you think it was a lot or none at all, no matter how successful you think you did it, you put forth effort, and that was huge. So kudos on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And one thing you might not have heard, I highly encourage you to get a piece of paper when you do it and start documenting it. Be a scientist with it and create data. So write today's date. I mean, well, not today because you've already done it today. So tomorrow you'll write the day's date, so 8/18, 2022, and then just have your pencil there ready to make a tick mark anytime you realize you're distracted. So that tick mark is going to be your acknowledgement. Yeah, that's like acknowledging that you were distracted. And then what I always suggest is take a deep breath. You don't have to take your eye. So if you pick the candle flame, just without looking, I always just leave my pencil on the paper. And then when I make the tick mark, lift it up and set it back down, ready to make the next one. So I never have to feel like I need to look at the paper. So when you make your tick mark, acknowledging the distraction, take a deep breath, and then start over. Put your attention on the flame. And then once your attention's there, use your willpower to see how long you can hold it there. And then once you realize you're distracted again, make your tick mark, take a deep breath. And the purpose of the tick marks is not who can get the less tick marks, who can go the whole 10 minutes with 0 tick marks,
Right.
Who's the super metaphysician, no, it's to help. The tick marks are only to help you to see like a fluctuation. If you've been going 10 days in a row and you're around 20 to 30 tick marks, And then all of a sudden you notice in the last 3 days, you've been like 80 to 90 tick marks. And it's like, whoa, hold on, something's changed here. Let me reflect back. What's really changed in this exercise the last 4 days? You know, or maybe you've been doing 100 to 150 tick marks, and then all of a sudden you're down to 10. You know, whoa, that's a major shift. What just happened here? You know, so the tick marks aren't about, you know, can you get more or can you get less? Because honestly, the more just means that you've had more practice of telling your attention what you wanted to do. So, you know, so don't ever get distracted by that. And I'm sure, you know, after today, you know, 2-3 weeks down the road, some of us might, because it's just human nature. You know, so I have to remind you all of that again later. I know I need to be reminded of it multiple times. I'm very, very competitive. So I was always, no matter how many times my teacher told me, I was like, no, I need 3 tick marks at max. I don't know why I'm at 127. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Very welcome. And yeah, like Jay said, you know, no need to beat yourself up over anything. You know, you were here in the present moment, which is always right on time. All right. So I'm kind of glad that we went over all of that, because it'll kind of help set the tone for going right into this visualization course, which is going to be on the back end of the concentration exercise. So ideally, this visualization exercise, which you can reapproach once you reach that point in the Keys to Success course, but ideally you've done, you know, 4 weeks of concentration every single day for 5 or eventually 10 minutes a day. And you have a level of understanding of what your attention is. You have a level of understanding of how to command your attention, what you want it to do, where you want it to go. You should have some level of ability in removing your attention from what you don't want it on and placing it on what you do want it on, and holding it there to whatever degree, you know, half a second to half a minute to, you know, for 10 minutes straight, you know, somewhere on that spectrum. Ideally, you would be at this point of practicing concentration for 28 days straight. But, you know, if you missed a couple days, or maybe you missed a whole week, who cares? You know what I mean? You are where you are, and you're in a better position now than you were before you started the course. So, you know, like I say all the time, kudos to that. So visualization, that's what we're here to talk about, and that's what we're here to get into. So very first thing, we should probably talk about what visualization is. You know, all right. So visualization is the ability to have control over your thoughts, or over the images, over your imagination. You know, concentration is your ability to control your attention, and visualization is your ability to control your imagination. And so, you know, our thoughts create our reality. You know, whether you understand that or not, it is universal. It's a universal law. Universal law, cause and effect. And in a minute, we'll go over how it's universal, show the universality in it. It's a part of every Holy Scripture. So I pulled from 3 different Holy Scriptures to show you how it is universal. You know, our thoughts create our reality. You know, as you think, so you become. As you sow, so shall you reap. You know, so then what is a thought? You know, a thought is an image. So as I'm sure all of you probably heard me say before, you know, if you think of a balloon, you can say what color that balloon was because you saw it as an image in your mind, you know. So, and you can think about anything else, you know, think about your favorite birthday experience, or your worst, you know, if you don't have a favorite one, or your worst, you know, either way, that is a thought stemming from your memory. But it's an image. It's an image out of your memory, because you're thinking about that past event in your memory, you know. Or if you think about your dream car, dream home, or you know, some goal that you want to have, or some place you want to travel to, you know, that is an image within your imagination. You know, a thought, that thought is an image in your imagination. So we think in images, and, you know, some people, they only see the words, and some people, they say, you know, I don't see anything, but they're just, you know, unaware of the images that are being processed in the back of their mind, because they're unconscious of it. So it's just a matter of increasing awareness, not necessarily their mind works differently. No, everyone's mind works the same and communicates the same way. Our minds communicate in images. That's why we think in images, because our thoughts are the content of our mind, our conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious mind. So if we're talking about a thought is an image and visualization is your control over your imagination, then what is your imagination? Your imagination is your image making ability. It's your ability to create an image in your mind. Image nation, the root word of imagination is image. Image nation. A nation is a collection of things. This nation is a collection of people. So imagination is the collection of images that form a moving image. Just like a movie is, movie. It's a bunch of moving images, motion picture. A bunch of pictures in motion. But anyways, your imagination is a bunch of images within your mind in motion, continually moving and creating a moving image, not just like a still image. And so, any of us can daydream. That's when the imagination is in control of what images are being created. Visualization is you having conscious control over your imagination. And so that's where, it becomes difficult for some people. It's like, I can daydream all day long, but I can't visualize for shit. It's really hard. I just can't do it. But it's just like anything, just like with concentration, it just takes practice. Visualization is another mental muscle, just like concentration, just like your physical muscles. With regular daily practice, you can understand, you can build and strengthen your visualization. And so like if you're somebody who's done it for 28 days in a row now, and you're on this lesson, then you understand that you can tell that your concentration power is stronger than it was on day one. Even if you're somebody who missed a few days here and there, you probably can still easily identify that, yeah, my level of concentration is definitely improved and it's only been 4 weeks. So visualization is the same thing. So expect over the next 4 weeks that you can also do that as well. So next slide. So first off, let's talk about the universality of the law of cause and effect, because this will help us to understand why we want to visualize. What's the purpose of visualization? Why would I need to do that? Well, if thought is the cause of your reality, and you want to have more control over what you experience and who you become, then you need to have more control over the images and thoughts that are occurring within your mind. So the universal law of cause and effect, here we have out of the Bible, Christianity, Matthew 7, verse 1 and 2. Do not judge so that you will not be judged. Your verdict on others will be the verdict passed on you. The standard with which you measure will be used to measure you. Essentially, what's going on here is as within, so without. What is going on within the mindset that you have internally will be what you express and experience externally. Yeah, you have a question, somebody? Okay. Oh yeah, you might not have heard Michelle, but yeah, if you ever have a question, feel free to interrupt me at any time and ask. It'll only contribute. It definitely won't interrupt and take away. You aren't here to hear me say that. Okay, so another verse from the Bible that is even more direct is, as you sow, so shall you reap. Your mind is like a garden. That's why, like Lao Tzu, who wrote the Tao Te Ching, which I think we have a verse from that, he said, he always taught from the garden, because your mind is just like a garden. The thoughts that you plant in your mind are what the fruits that it bears. So as you sow, so shall you reap. The thoughts that you plant within your mind is going to be what sprouts out into the physical. So as you think, so shall you become. Actually, I think that's the next one. Yeah, the Dhammapada. Universal law of cause and effect from the Dhammapada, verse 1 and 2. This is the very first verse. The Dhammapada, for anyone who doesn't know, I didn't really explain the Bible, but I'm pretty sure most people understand the Bible. The Bible is from Christianity. Originally, the Old Testament was from the Hebrews, but after Christ came around, the Bible's mostly associated with Christianity. Old Testament from Hebrews is just the Torah. Anyways, the Dhammapada is what we're on now. The Dhammapada is the collection of teachings from the Buddha, who lived 500 years before Jesus. And You know, some people like worship the Buddha and things, but you know, if you follow his teachings, one, he never talks about God, and two, he never says, you know, to worship him or anything like that. Um, you know, same as Jesus. Jesus, anytime that they would start worshiping, you tell them, no, don't do that, and then they still would. They just disappear. Everybody's like, oh, where'd Jesus go? And his disciples would have to go find him by a lake, meditating or something, praying. But anyways, so the Buddha just taught, you know, the right living, right thinking, you know, the Eightfold Path, and essentially he just taught verbally. And so for years and years, his teachings were just passed down verbally until eventually they were like, you know what, we should write this shit down. And so the very first verse that they chose to write is this: our life is shaped by our mind. We become what we think. Suffering follows an evil thought as the wheels of a cart follow the oxen that draws it. Our life is shaped by our mind. We become what we think. Joy follows a pure thought like a shadow that never leaves. You know, and so the Dhammapada, and like the Tao Te Ching that we'll get into, which was also written around the same time, or Lao Tzu was also around the same time as the Buddha, about 500 years before Jesus. So they were they were written at a time period and within a culture where there wasn't a need to like suppress the direct knowledge. So there wasn't really a need to write in symbology. They can be a lot more straightforward with what they're trying to convey. So like this is very direct. Your life is shaped by your mind. You know, you become what you think. And then here's an analogy for it. Suffering follows an evil thought as the wheels of a cart follow the oxen that draws it. You tie an ox to a cart, that ox cannot get away from that cart no matter what it does until you unattach it. You know what I mean? And then our life is shaped by our mind, or we become what we think. Joy follows a pure thought like a shadow that never leaves. You can't get rid of your shadow. You know what I mean? Not at all. If you got rid of your shadow, that means there ain't no more light. But light comes back, boom, shadow's there. You know, so like it's to show that it's universal. You can't get around this. All the time, everywhere, everyone. All right. So yeah, here's the Tao Te Ching. Universal law of cause and effect. Tao Te Ching, verse 16. Cause the mind of self to be empty and open, the center of being to be still. Then you will be able to perceive the 10,000 events that rise connected. Experiences and things grow and flourish in endless variation, and then once again return to the source. The source is stillness. From stillness comes the cycles of creation. From stillness, they come alive, alive and in motion in the continuum of consciousness. To know consciousness is known as enlightenment. To know consciousness leads to misery and to not know, sorry, I was like, hold on, that can't be right. To not know consciousness leads to misery and error. To maintain an all-encompassing, expanded consciousness leads to an open heart. To be open-hearted is to gain rulership of self. To rule is to be like heaven. To be like heaven is to be one with the Tao. To be one with the Tao is to maintain an eternal life of connected consciousness free from exhaustion. So that was a lot, right? And so the thing with that is to really realize and pay attention to the state that you're going to enter into, and then this is what it produces. You know, first cause the mind of self to be empty and open, the center of being to be still. Okay, so if I cause my mind to do this, then what is the effect? Well, the effect is then you will be able to perceive the 10,000 events that rise connected. You know, then experiences and things grow and flourish in endless variation, meaning, you know, it's infinite the variables that you can create for yourself to experience and what things can grow into and evolve into. It's endless, it's infinite. And then once again, return to source. So in order to access that infinite possibilities, you have to cause the mind of self to be empty and open in the center of being to be still. Then once you do that, return to source, and then it's saying what will be produced then. If you do that, if you cause that to happen, then here's the effect. You know, from stillness comes the cycles of creation. From stillness, they come alive. And then it talks about to know consciousness is known as enlightenment. Here's the effect. If you cause yourself to become more conscious, then you're going to be more enlightened. If you don't cause yourself to become more conscious, then it's going to lead to misery and error because you're going to become more unconscious. So all of this is just displaying, that your thought is cause, and the effect of that is the manifestation of that thought. So I just wanted to kind of start off with going through, these three different, holy scriptures from three different parts of the world at three different time periods that are completely separate. The world back then was nothing like today, where I can call somebody up from China, or I can call somebody up from India, or I can call somebody up from Jerusalem right now, and we can talk about how'd you grow up? What beliefs did you have? These things are completely separate, and this is how they interpreted the universe and the Most High and their experience of self and evolution and soul growth and spiritual understanding, and it's universal. They're coming to the same conclusions. And in your own life, like I say all the time, don't believe anything you hear me say. So anything you hear in this video, don't believe a word of it, but look within your own life, and see if you can identify the thought calls behind the effects within your life. Sometimes it's a conscious thought that you're aware of. Sometimes it's an unconscious thought that you're not aware of. That doesn't mean, like start blaming yourself for any, bad or negative things that happen to you, because it was most likely unconscious. You didn't purposely do that stuff. But by taking a level of personal responsibility, you then create an even stronger level of freedom to create anything, an endless variation of experiences. Any questions so far? Let's hear two questions thus far. Anyone? None? Or thoughts? Two thoughts? Questions? Okay, that's all right. Oh wait, we got two. So like we're supposed to keep our mind frozen, like not thinking anything. No. I mean, because that's just so that scripture, that's like the 16th verse of the Tao Te Ching. So that's speaking to when you get to that point, calls, because there's a lot of other steps in the first 15 verses. But at that point, calls the mind of self to be empty and open. So once you practice concentration for so long, you'll get to a point where you can hold your attention on, awake, keep your attention out of your thoughts, and keep the mind empty and open, and be still mind meditation. You can practice that enough to where it happens, it becomes a thing. But it's not anything like you should feel like you need to be doing right now. Right now, just more use your attention to observe the thoughts and be aware of them as they flow through your mind. Watch them like you watch TV. So now that we kind of understand the universality of the universal law of cause and effect, that our thoughts create our reality, then we can start to get into more, that'll help us to understand more of the mechanics. How do our thoughts create our reality? And so here is a two-dimensional diagram of the mind. We aren't the mind, we aren't our body, we aren't our soul, we aren't our spirit. We are the consciousness that utilizes all of these in a way to know ourselves, know who we are. I am, to understand who we are. So not to go fully deep into this, like not as deep as in the Dream Interpretation Masterclass, but mostly we're going to be focusing on the conscious and subconscious mind, because you see this line up here is outside of the triangle to delineate a separation between everything above it and everything below it. Everything above it is whole, and everything below it is one singular whole. But this whole also has a solid line down here, separating, indicating that it's also two halves. The physical body, which uses the conscious mind here in the physical 3D reality, is one half. That's the aggressive half. Your conscious mind is very aggressive. The thoughts of the conscious mind are coming in whether you want them to or not. It's very aggressive. And the other half is the subconscious mind, which is the mind that the soul uses within the fourth dimension. Okay, it's receptive. It's the thoughts in the subconscious mind are just sitting here in the mind waiting to receive your attention, and then your intuitive thoughts will come in. So we're mostly going to focus on these two because it's the relationship of these two in which you manifest your thoughts. Your conscious mind plants the seed thoughts into the womb of the subconscious mind in here in the mental level. Then as it gestates and gains more density, it will form and be pulled back through the emotional level and out into the physical. And so that's kind of the mechanics of how it happens. Just like creating a person. If you want to create something new, create a being, nature reflects the same experience. The male, the aggressive masculine male, plants the seed into the womb of the woman, the egg, where it will gestate and grow and gain more substance until it is pushed out back into the physical. You know what I mean? Same exact experience. And so, and also you'll notice with visualization, one thing we'll go over next week is how a lot of technology, like cameras and everything, operate in a very similar way to, and your eyes as well, to visualization, how the mind works. It's a direct reflection. But we're mostly going to focus on these two here. So there's 3 divisions of mind: the superconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious. And there are 7 different levels: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have the first level, the cosmic consciousness, causal level, superconscious mind, mental level, astral level, lower astral level, and emotional level within the subconscious, and then the physical. But mostly we're going to be focusing on the conscious. So the conscious mind. So it is in the 3rd dimension, which is, height, length, and depth. Height, width, and depth are the 3 dimensions that we experience. We can move all around, but we're locked in the present moment. So we can't move through time. We're locked in the present moment. And we're locked within experiencing through these individual bodies. So we can't move through space. We can take these bodies to different points of space, but we can't expand our consciousness through different spaces. I can't have my consciousness be all in this body and absorb these plants as well next to me. That's the 5th dimension. That's why it's, cosmic consciousness, Buddha consciousness, Christ consciousness. That's why Jesus always talked about loving the neighbor as yourself. We're all connected because he's, operating from a level of consciousness, of cosmic consciousness here in the 5th dimension. So there is no illusion of separation anymore. But we're here in the 3rd dimension. So we're talking about the conscious mind. The duty, so each level of mind or each division of mind has a duty, a purpose, and a power. And so the duty is the aggressive quality of that level of or division of mind, and the purpose is the receptive quality of that level of mind. So the duty of the conscious mind is to create life experiences in order to learn from them. We all can probably easily think, like I talked about earlier, identify in your own life how your thought has been the cause of your reality. So if you're sitting here listening to this is an experience that your thoughts have caused. And so it's probably one that you can easily identify the thoughts that created it, the thoughts that caused it. Oh, I'm going to sign up for this. Oh, I'm going to go check this out. Oh, I'm going to, I want to grow more. Oh, I want to learn more about myself. I want to, progress. I want to evolve, whatever it is. You know what? I want to get back to learning again. However far back you go, you can identify all of the different little thoughts that brought you to here. And so that's the duty. That's the whole job of the conscious mind. That's what it's clocking in for, is to create life experiences. That's why you always have ideas and thoughts and trying to create solutions to things, because you wanted to create particular experiences. Now, the purpose of the conscious mind is to learn from those life experiences and feed the understandings of self, life, and the universe and creation to the subconscious mind to make it a permanent part of yourself. So what does that really mean? Like most of the time when I ask people, what lessons are you learning from life right now? a lot of times they'll say things like, "Oh, not to trust anybody," or "Oh, that I can only rely on myself," or "Oh, that don't allow myself to get over agitated with things." And so yeah, those are life lessons. But out of those lessons, what what has it provided you a deeper understanding of? Maybe you understand patience a little more. Maybe you understand um, friendship a little more. Maybe you understand trust in a deeper way than you did before. Maybe you understand communication in a deeper way than you did before. What understandings have you gained more understanding of? And so what happens then is here in the physical, our conscious mind, as we gain those understandings, we feed them into our soul for our soul to hold on to that wisdom for the rest of this lifetime and on into future lifetimes. So your soul already has stored in it the wisdom of all the understandings that you've gained through all the life experiences that you've experienced through all of your lifetimes that you've lived before this life. That's why some of us, we're just born understanding things a little differently than other people. Other people understand things a little bit differently than us. Some people just come into this lifetime understanding charm and luck, and they just everything falls in place for them. Some people understand prosperity and abundance, and no matter what they do, they always fall into money. Some people understand compassion, and so they just are more compassionate beings naturally. Some people just understand empathy, and so they're just more empathetic than other people. Some people just understand dreams and dream work and lucid dreaming. And so they just come into this lifetime, don't think about it, and they just have different dream experiences than anybody else. They don't realize that they're any different until they talk about it. All types of things. I'm sure you can think about the ways in which you use your mind completely different from other people, and you've always been that way ever since a little kid. Those are the understandings that you came into this lifetime with. And so that's part of also why I say anytime, any question that you can form in your mind, you can find the answer within. And if you can't find it from the wisdom within the subconscious mind, you can definitely find it from within the wisdom of the superconscious mind. You have these understandings within you that you can access and unlock. Sometimes we set it up before we even come into this life. So let's keep these other understandings inaccessible until a certain period in life or until something happens to then unlock and access these gifts, this knowledge, this wisdom. So sometimes that happens. Oh shoot, I came out here with my yeah. All right, I would have hated to have lost you. All right, so um, so that's the purpose of the conscious mind is to store those understandings in there. It's like that's why like food represents knowledge within a dream because our food, you know, our teeth break them down just like we break down our life experiences. And when we do that, the food becomes more digestible. When we break down our life experiences, it becomes easier to digest what happened. It's easier to swallow that thing happened when we actually take the time to break it down. And then when we do that, it's a lot easier to digest it and absorb the nutrients. And those nutrients become a permanent part of the body. The nutrients from the food, it becomes the blood, it becomes the tissues, it becomes the bones, you know. And so then once we do absorb that nutrients, it's then the body, it allows the body to then let go of the waste, the excrement that we then release out. And if we don't let it go, it's going to become toxic. Just like in life, when you take that nutrition, the value from the experience after you've broken it down and you feed it into your soul, it becomes a permanent part of yourself. So even after this physical body dies, that knowledge and wisdom is still there. It's a permanent part of yourself, just like the food did. And then once you do that, though, once you identify the learning, then it's a lot easier to let go of the rest of the experience. Because if you don't let it go, it's going to become toxic. One big thing that I hear more and more people, like when I first got into spirituality, I mean, people talked about trauma, but nowhere near like the awareness that people have today, like the just very common talk and lingo and awareness and discussions about trauma. And so that's because, we aren't learning how to, we're becoming more aware of the effects of the trauma, but haven't gotten to a point where collectively as a majority of the group understood how to, learn how to let these things go. And there's lots of different things. And, I can get into that at another time. But right now, I'll definitely say look into some rhythmic breathing. That'll melt away the trauma like butter, like literally. We talked about it last week, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again in our mentee Zoom meetings. We'll talk about it after this. But anyways, the power of the conscious mind is reasoning. Reasoning, the three keys to reasoning are attention, imagination, and memory. Your memory is your ability to understand what happened in the past. Your attention is your ability to understand what's happening in the present moment. And your imagination is your ability to understand what is possible to happen in the future. And through this, the better you have control over your attention, memory, and imagination, then the more stronger your reasoning ability will be. And intuition, which is the power of the subconscious mind, which we'll get into, is built off of reasoning. So the stronger your reasoning ability is, the stronger your intuition is naturally going to be. So the reason I am going so in depth over the conscious mind in regards to visualization is because the conscious mind is the director. It creates the life experiences. And so it's the director of the subconscious mind. It tells the subconscious mind what it wants. That's how the conscious mind creates the life experiences. Is because the subconscious mind's duty is to manifest the thoughts of the conscious mind. So as we think a thought, as the conscious mind thinks a thought down here in the physical, it will imprint into the mental level. So every thought that you think seeks to manifest. But it's like if you go to an empty garden, freshly tilled, and you throw a bunch of seeds out there, you just get a handful of seeds out of a bag and just throw all these seeds out there. The vast majority of those seeds are going to take root and grow. And you're going to have a beautiful garden with tons of flowers or plants or vegetation of whatever you just sprinkled out there. Now, if you don't till the garden and you just go to a field with all these weeds and grass and bushes and everything, you take that same handful of seeds. I mean, take 2 or 3 handfuls of seeds and throw them out there and count how many actually grow. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, no matter how many thoughts get planted into the mental level, because every thought seeks to manifest, no matter how many that are trying to manifest actually get there, only the ones that are thought the most or have the strongest energy behind them, meaning the most vivid and vibrant thought that we think, the more energy you put behind a thought or how many times you think that thought will determine what thoughts end up manifesting. Like those seeds that you threw out there, they're still out there. They're planted. But if the other weeds and things, negative thoughts is what a weed's going to represent. If the other weeds are what's getting all of the nutrients out of the ground, then that seed will never grow. But you could come back a year later after throwing those 3 handfuls. You can come back a year later and uproot all of those weeds, and then those seeds that have been sitting there for a year waiting will begin to take root and sprout. So I'm just saying all of that to help you to understand, like I said, the mechanics of visualization. So how those mechanics apply to visualization is that visualization is, like I said, having conscious control over your imagination, the images within your mind. So just like the concentration exercise is not only putting your attention where you want it, but holding it there. The same thing with visualization, creating a visual image within your mind of exactly what you want, and then holding your attention upon that image so that it gets brighter. It has more light to it. That's what I was talking about as far as like the density, the energy behind it, the power, the magnitude of the thoughts. The more light you can give it, the more vivid it can be in your mind. That's going to be a more powerful thought. Or how many times you think it, So how many times you practice visualization? I always suggest everybody to visualize what they want every morning and every night. Spend at least like 5 minutes as part of your morning routine and nightly routine. You don't have to do it exactly when you wake up or just before you go to sleep. I mean, it's probably more powerful that way because you're even more connected to the subconscious mind at those points, but that's all right. In the morning time, you're more focused on writing down your dream first thing anyways. That's going to be better for you anyways. And so just saying all of that to understand how those mechanics eventually end up applying to visualization. So let's go on to, or any questions here? Let's get 2 questions here. Somebody's got to have a question or a thought even. Just, oh, I found this part fascinating.
All right, bet you want a thought? A thought it is. All right. My
Yeah.
brother was trying to connect to my hotspot, and it didn't work. And I didn't leave. It just kicked me from the Zoom meeting. I really hope I didn't miss nothing very important. Like I went right to the part where what was it? What was the person's name? I think Desiree was talking. Desiree. Right to the part where Desiree was talking, and then after that I can't remember because it kicked me. I kept trying and trying to get back,
Oh,
but it wouldn't work, so I had to restart my phone.
that's all right. Well, luckily you all reminded me to record it early on, so we got the
Yep,
recording. Yeah.
thankfully.
I looked earlier at a point where I was asking, I was like, oh, Marquez ain't with us no more. Maybe he had something going on, he had to go. But I'm glad you're back either way.
Of course.
All right. Were you gonna say something, Michelle?
Yes, I was just gonna say that I do a lot of visualization and trying to, I guess I'm supposedly manifesting, but I try to create vivid thoughts in my mind. I don't know if this is so much of a question more than just a comment.
Yeah.
Try to create thoughts in my mind so that they can be implanted, but I guess I kind of doubt the whole process and if I'm doing it correctly. So.
Yeah, no, that brings up a great point because, like right now, today, we've been focusing on the universal law of cause and effect. And in the mechanics of manifestation course, which will be what we create after this one, which we'll really go into the deep into the mechanics of all of this. This is like just like ground level, build up your ability to visualize before we get into the mechanics of manifestation so you can apply everything that we learn each week in there, like immediately right away. But what I was going to say is that's what you said at the very end is very much tied to the law of manifestation, which is also known as the law of believing and knowing. So, if you doubt it, that's fine. That is totally fine because a belief is just a thought that you continue to think. And if you're visualizing or having a mantra or affirmation of something that you don't believe, and it's really hard to believe, that just means that is definitely one of the most important thoughts that you should be manifesting, one of the most important things that you should be visualizing. Because if a belief is just a thought that you continue to think, the more that you continue to think that, then the more you will believe it. And then the more that you will believe it, the more it will manifest out into an experience. At first, it might, since you only believe it at 10%, you might only manifest 10% of it. But then when that 10% comes about, then you're like, oh, okay. Like for example, and I don't know how many of you saw it, but I made a post. Hey y'all, on TikTok. Hey y'all, I'm gonna teach you how to manifest the extra $100 for yourself. Here's the exercise. Do it. Well, like the next day, I had this lady hit me up. She was like, "Oh my God, I manifested $60. Thank you so much." I said, "Well, great, congratulations, but this is great because the exercise. Beautiful. This is what being a metaphysician means. You create experience for yourself. You have data to collect, and so now, oh, can y'all hear me better now? Okay, I was kind of leaning to the side a little bit, so
Yeah, I can hear you better.
okay, thank you. Did you understand everything I was saying, or it was just kind of low?
Yes, absolutely. I understand it to the absolute fullest. Like when
Okay.
I was trying to astral project in the beginning, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I absolutely believe that this is possible. But I already knew I wasn't trying my best to do it because in the
Mm,
beginning, like I said to you before, I felt scared because I kept feeling a heartbeat. But
yeah.
then, after I practiced concentration, it became easier. And after it became easier, I got past that stage, and then I got to I think it may actually been the final stage of astral projection when I messaged you saying, I'm so excited, I almost done it. When my body felt numb, and then, like, my body didn't feel numb. It just felt so heavy. Like, I thought I already let go of all my muscles, but no, literally all the muscles, it's just like I flopped back. All right.
Hmm.
And then after that, it was for some reason so hard for me to keep my eyes closed. Every time I get close to that point or to that point, it gets hard for me to keep my eyes closed. And I don't know why about that, but that's not to the point. The point is, when I first started out, I was trying to convince myself that I was believing in it, but until I actually tried my best to do it, that's when I actually got close. Because when I got close to doing it, my brothers were in the kitchen. They were playing music. And any other time I'll try to go to sleep, it was complete quiet. But the time I got super close to doing it is when they were playing music. And since they were doing that, I was fully concentrated on myself. Any other time, I don't know why I wasn't, but when they
Yeah.
was playing music and I was hearing stuff, I was fully concentrated on myself. And when that happened, yeah, I did it. I
Nice,
mean,
nice.
almost
And
did it.
so now you probably have a lot stronger level of belief that astral projection is possible versus when you were first starting out and trying to convince yourself, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the universal law of manifestation, universal law of believing and knowing. You know, you'll as you begin to think a thought and continue to think it, you'll then begin to believe it. But that belief is going to create a certain level of an experience. And then that experience is only going to increase your belief. So you had an experience that increased your belief. So now going forward, you're going into it with a much stronger level of belief. You're going to be able to have more attention to give to it because you have less attention trying to convince yourself, until you actually experience the thing in full. And then you no longer believe that it is possible. You know that it is possible because you've created the experience. Right. And so like I was saying with that lady, she created $60. And I was like, okay, you had 60% level of belief with it. So now take that stronger level of belief, reapply it, and actually manifest the $100. So to the point that we originally talked about, as far as, not really, believing what you were visualizing, uh, Michelle, it's to the point of like the universal law of manifestation, the universal law of believing and knowing that that feeling of I don't really believe this, I don't really know if it's going to be able to be possible, that is going to give you the indicator. It's like a road sign. Like pay attention to that. Like, ooh, this must really be bumping up against something that's a strong limitation for me. And so that's even more reason for me to go deeper with this thought. And so that one you want to manifest, you want to visualize even more because it's going to, like I was talking about earlier with the initiations and needing to put forth more effort to initiate the energy to break down these personal limitations. For example, manifesting $100, do you have to also visualize how it manifests? No, no. When you try to visualize how it will manifest, you're putting a limit on the universe, which is the universal law of infinity. Anything is possible. It can come in any type of way. And when you're visualizing, it's often going to come about the fastest way possible. Like one time when I very first started into metaphysics. I was like a year in, started the school of metaphysics after like a year into metaphysics, studying on my own very intently. And there was an exercise that I'll give you all. It'll be either be in next week's lesson or the week after. I mean, I can share it with you just later after we've recorded this, just because for the course, I wanted to give it to people at this particular time. But this particular exercise to manifest something. And I wanted to manifest a new truck because my truck was, I mean, it ran, but it wasn't, it was an old truck. I wanted something else. I'm like, okay, let's see if this, they just gave me this exercise. Okay, let's see if it works. I don't fucking know. They could be bullshit me. And that's how I approach everything all the time. Such a doubter in all of this stuff that I know, and have so much evidence that it's true. But I'm like, until I experience it, no, fuck no, it's not possible. I mean, not necessarily not possible. I'm not just blindly going around believing it. So I was like, all right, let's see. A week to the day that I started, my truck breaks down. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? This exercise is bullshit. You know what I mean? Like I put all this energy to make my truck break down. What the hell? And so then I go to class that day, and the teacher's asking everybody, "Hey, okay, so we had this exercise. How did it go for everybody this week?" What did you guys give me to do? Because my truck broke down this morning. I had to get a ride over here. And one of my classmates, he looks up at me. He's like, "Oh, you need a ride?" I was like, "Oh man, you got an extra car or something?" He's like, "Yeah, I got a truck sitting behind my garage. I don't even use. I mean, I was like, "Oh man, how much you want for it?" He's like, "Oh no, I can't sell it because he needs it for particular times, but he ain't using it for a while." He's like, "You can just use it until you save up the money and get you a new car." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you want me to give you some money to pay you like $200 a month or something to borrow it?" He's like, "No, don't even worry about it. Just put that towards buying your new car." And so I'm like, "Okay, great," and my teacher's sitting there smiling like he just has this goofy smile on his face, and I don't really pay no attention to it. And then we're driving back to his house and stuff, and I give him my license so he can, put my name on his insurance and everything, get everything proper and everything. And so I'm driving home in his truck, and it just hits me. I'm like, holy shit, I'm driving. Just this morning, I'm driving my truck. And now tonight, 1 week later, I'm driving a whole new truck. I'm like, fuck, man. Okay, so I as soon as I got home, I scratched out a new truck and put in of my own. Like, I want a new truck of my own. So, no, you don't want to necessarily visualize how it will get to you, but you do want to be detailed. You do want to be specific. Not so specific as like you're putting specific people into your images, because you definitely don't want to impose on other people's will. Um, because especially with people with a weak will, you can do that, but that's going to invoke a lot of karma, and I definitely don't suggest it. Um, so yeah, fastest way possible, exactly. That was one of my first experiences with beginning to understand in a very practical way manifestation. Okay, I got you, universe. You think you're funny, huh? Okay. Universe puts people, circumstances, events in place for you, as I've heard. Yes, absolutely does. But universe only does half. You have to do the rest. So yeah, the universe will be at work and at play, but you have to give it the direction. You have to call the shots. You have to be like the director on a film set. You have to tell it what to do. You might not. The director is going to direct all the actors. He might not be able to control and direct how their acting is expressed, how they express the lines and the scenes, but he's giving direction on what he wants, and the image of what he wants.
So I've got a big question.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, don't apologize, please.
This is something that I've been struggling with since I started this whole journey. I'm new to the spiritual journey, but I don't know. I set out on a course back in December, but nonetheless, I've been trying to, when I've listened to so many different people talk about manifesting, and you are in control, you create your own reality type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I hear that. And so you hear some people say that when you're trying to manifest, that you shouldn't say I want, or I want to have, or as if you don't have it already. You're supposed to speak as if you have it. Yeah. So I just wanted to get some clarification.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're speaking, those are words that you're putting to the thoughts, right? So the thoughts are images. So we're going beyond, affirmations or what you're wanting to speak into existence. We're going deeper than that. We're going to like the very root level, So, the image of what you want, you can call it want. I mean, it's a want. Is it a want, need, or desire? I mean, it's all similar things that you're, wanting to create, but yeah, as far as like what you're speaking to, I would definitely, anytime you come across that in your mind, switch it to will into existence. But wanting is fine. It's when you're like wishing, but yeah, to your point, and this is the point that I was starting to get to, with the other question, is you want to be in the end result, just so you don't have to figure out how it's going to get there. just focus on the end result. So I mean, it could be something as simple as, like for you, Jay, it could be just picture telling your best friend the news that you got the job. You know what I mean? Picture telling your mom or your dad or your brother or sister or cousin or somebody, or coming back in here. Picture telling us, oh my God, I manifested the job, y'all, and feel it, because we're planting the thoughts into the mental level. Now we're getting real deep into it, y'all. We're planting the thoughts into the mental level. But when you add, the reason that people say add the feeling to it is because when you add the feeling, that's the emotional level down here, right? So if we're planting it, that emotion is going to pull that thought form down into the emotional level. So it's going to make it manifest more rapidly. And then once it gets here, it's already got momentum. And where's that momentum going to carry it? Out into the physical. So that emotion is also going to push it out into the physical. So when you add the feeling, it's going to make that whole entire manifestation process happen more rapidly. So just image the end result. You don't have to figure out how, you don't have to figure out what type of job, just picture coming back in here and just the excitement and everything, and telling us what that you got the job. Oh my God, I was just visualizing, and it happened. I did just what Tarak said. I only visualized being in here telling y'all, boom, now it happened. Okay, when you go to sleep, listening to affirmations or subliminals, is that really effective? It's effective, but not in the way that people think. Because it's like if you listen to it for the whole 8 hours that you're asleep, I mean, it'll have some effect, but the main portion of that is, okay, let me backtrack. Yes, it really does have an effect. The effect isn't that strong the majority of the night. It is at its strongest as you're falling asleep versus while you're completely unconscious and asleep. Although that does have an effect, it's just very strong as you're falling asleep. And so because of that, I would rather suggest that you fall asleep imaging these things, not just listening to words from someone else's mouth, but imaging the image, the thought from your own mind. That's going to be even more powerful than subliminals, and it'll be being done during the time period when it's most effective, as you're falling asleep. So yeah. Man, I'm glad I've kind of forced y'all to open up on the questions. Y'all got the floodgates jumping on the questions. It's good. So how would I come across manifesting a new job? So I kind of covered that. You were more of a dream job. Okay, good question. Very good question. Okay, got to get the kids to bed. I wanted to say on my way out how much I needed this today. Beautiful. I'm definitely going to watch the rest of the recording. I'm already seeing the reasons why I've run into my current limitations. Beautiful. The funny thing is, I almost didn't come on tonight because I was frustrated, but I decided to join anyway, and I'm glad I did. Oh man, I got tears in my eyes, y'all. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Okay, got it. Good, Desiree. All right, great. So any other questions right now? Or any questions on the conscious mind or anything?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
But it's not really a question though.
Okay.
I just wanted to make a comment on the story that you said on how you got your new truck.
Yeah.
I like how you got two universal laws in there, not just manifestation, but you also got sacrifice. You sacrifice something else.
Exactly.
Yep. Mhm.
Exactly.
And I've been manifesting. I know. I'm gonna be sacrificing something to get what I want, and now I'm looking forward to it because I can. I wait. I wonder. Can I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can choose what I want to sacrifice. That
Yeah.
does not sound right at all, but well, yeah. I guess I can.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah, there was a time in my life also where you saying that reminded me I was kind of got into undisciplined stuff, and um, I was complaining about the job I had, and then all of a sudden I got laid off. And I was like, what in the hell did this happen for? But then, 2 weeks later, I got the job that I was actually wanting. And I was like, oh, I kept on complaining about not being there, but I wasn't putting any effort towards doing anything about it. So the universe, cut it out for me to create the space in order to manifest what I was really wanting.
Great. Just like you
All right.
said before, the universe only does half, and you got to do the rest. I like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Exactly. All right. So it says, I've been sacrificing sleep. I get it. I get it. I've definitely been there and am there. All
Oh
right. Is
yeah,
it?
I also forgot to ask you. Do you remember your first dreams when you go to sleep? Like you remember the whole thing for you? Yeah, you probably do. I
At
just wanted to ask.
times when I'm really really focused on my dream work, yeah, I'll remember like the whole I still have it as a goal and haven't done it yet. I don't have it as strong of a desire to do it as I used to, but I've always wanted to just remain completely aware and awake and lucid the whole night through. Um, but that was mostly like an early on desire. Now I kind of understand really that's kind of just a fun thing that would be fun to experience, not necessarily anything purposeful, because I understand the purpose of the other things that are going on um, throughout the night for me to, not do that. um, like
Okay.
different things that my soul needs to do that I don't need to be aware of consciously.
All right, I can see that.
Yeah. All right, so we got another question here. Is it possible to be successful with this if you have really bad depression, anxiety, PTSD, and ADHD? Absolutely. But even more powerful than the visualization, just the concentration exercise alone is going to be very good with that. Um, as far as the depression, anxiety, and PTSD, let's talk another time or at the end of this about the rhythmic breathing, and that'll really help with a lot of that. The ADHD, the concentration exercise will eliminate that. The anxiety, the concentration exercise will eliminate that because ADHD is it's a little more than ADD, but it'll just take a little more control over your attention. But that is the primary uh, remedy to that to permanently heal it, as well as the anxiety. Anxiety, the root cause of anxiety is scattered attention. So the ability to bring your undivided attention into the present moment. I used to have extreme anxiety, and I used to have ADD. I've had quite a few students who had ADHD and permanently healed from that. I have one good friend who was also a student through concentration and meditation every day, healed of bipolar as well. And another one who had Tourette's and doesn't anymore. Um, and then with the depression, uh, with that, I would definitely suggest practicing the long breath anytime you come across an experience of depression, where you're just taking the longest, slowest, deepest breath. Really, with the depression, anxiety, or PTSD, do that exercise, and it won't necessarily work to remove the cause of it. But it will help alleviate the present moment experience, and especially the emotions tied to it, to where it'll be easier for you to handle it and respond to what's going on versus react to it from that depressed state or anxious state or anything like that, traumatic state. Yeah, do you remember all your dreams? No, I don't remember all of them because even to this day, there's still times where I'm like going through and reviewing it. And I'm like, oh yeah, before this happened. Wouldn't that make you tired to be able to stay aware the whole night? Not in the way that you would think, because the as far as wouldn't that make you tired to stay aware the whole night? Not in the way that you would think, because the real rejuvenation process is coming from the assimilation of your life experiences. And so that's why, like, some people will who lucid dream, they're always talking about, oh, I'm so tired and exhausted after I lucid dream. Well, yeah, your dreams are to help you assimilate, intuitively, if you don't understand the language and are able to directly assimilate it and understand what's going on, you at least through the re-experiencing what's going on in your mind, intuitively assimilate life experiences so you get some rest. But when you become lucid, you start just changing everything, or you just fly off and like, oh, let me just completely avoid this message that I had prepared for me. then you're not assimilating. So you're not recycling that energy that you spent throughout the day. You're not recycling that back into yourself. ADHD is attention deficit hyperactive disorder. But so, anyways, for someone like me who I can be in the dream interpreting it as I'm dreaming it. So I'm as because when I'm lucid, I'm not like changing things. I mean, I do sometimes, but I consciously am doing it for a purpose. Versus, just like, oh, willy-nilly, let's just go do this. Let's just completely change what's going on. Like whenever I do change things, it's mostly like just asking who someone is, or I'm not like changing the whole dynamic of the dream. I'm still just kind of using the lucidity to kind of be more aware and more observant and gather more details. Um, so, um, so no, it wouldn't really be more exhausting or be more tired. I would actually probably be more rejuvenated and even more if I was lucid the whole time, which is what the goal was. Not just to remember dreams the whole night. I've done that most times. Right. What exercise are you talking about? I got on late, might have missed it. Oh, the intuitive breathing. Yeah, we'll talk about that after this, and I'll go over that with y'all. That's cool. Okay. Right. So that's the conscious mind. That's a bunch of the questions. If you have more questions, definitely interrupt me and bring them up. Talk about them. So on to the subconscious mind. So like I said, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are two halves to the whole that are used to create our reality. That's why number 3 represents creation. You have the 1, the 2, and then the 3, the conscious and subconscious, and then the manifestation of your reality. The mother, the father, the manifestation of the baby. The process of making a baby is going to be so relevant and correlated to the process of how your mind implants the seed thought into your subconscious mind and then manifests it out into the reality. So the subconscious mind is the mind that the soul uses within the 4th dimension. And the 4th dimension is time. Okay. Now, this is very key here because a lot of us can very easily understand how we can change the future. And a lot of times when we're talking about visualization and manifestation, we're only primarily thinking of the future, but time moves in more than one direction. You can manifest things within the past differently. I had an experience once where, just to try to make it short, me and my best friend at the time always filed our taxes as soon as it came in. That way they were processed and done and back to us before most people even got theirs in. Second week of February, boom, we already got our taxes back. Well, this particular year, this was like 9-10 years ago. Yeah, it was 2013. So yeah, 9 years ago. This particular year, we're talking, and it's been like 3 weeks. We're like, man, what's going on? I don't know. And then the week after that, he calls me up one morning, and he tells me, "Oh man, Tarak, our taxes are gonna take a couple months." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Man, I just got this letter, and they said that our taxes are gonna." I said, "No, not ours. You got the letter." He said, "Yeah, but we're both in the same boat. It's for both of us." I said, "Don't speak that out for me." Yeah, I said, "Don't speak that out for me," and hung up on him right then and there. Right, I'm still laying in bed, just sitting up. I'm still half awake. I'm just got introduced to the day with this news, and I'm thinking about how recently I watched this video on random number generators, and this group made this experiment with random number generators where they got this group together, or first they ran the random number generator like 100 times or 1,000 times or whatever. I don't remember the full details, but I'll make it up. They ran it 1,000 times, and out of those 1,000 times, no single number came up more than 20 times, right? And so then they got this group of people together, and they told the group of people, pick a number between 1 and 1,000, and then focus your attention on that number for the next 20 minutes. And the people did. They picked the number, they focused their attention on it, and then after that, they ran the random number generator, and that specific number came up. I don't, like I said, I don't remember the details. I'll make it up. Came up like 40 times, and all the other numbers, were about the same. And so it was like, oh wow, they put their attention on it and they caused the random number generator to act out completely out of character that it didn't act the last 100 times we did it, right? So they figured out, okay, our consciousness can affect the future. So then they did it to the past. So they're like, okay, let's run the random number generator 100 times again. Okay, now this time, let's bring the group of people in here. It was a different group of people, and they ran the random number generator first and didn't look at the results. And then they went to the people and they said, all right, I want you all to think of a number between 1 and 1,000 and think about that number, hold that number in your mind for the next 20 minutes. And they did that. And then they opened up the results to the random number generator that they already ran. And that number came up, the 50 odd times or whatever, way more than any number had ever come up the 100 times they already randomly ran it without anyone imposing their consciousness on it. So they're like, oh, consciousness can affect the past too. Well, at the time of watching this video, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that stuff, sounds cool. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. But as soon as my friend told me this, I said, oh, great. I have an experience to put into practice to see if this is true or not. I'm going to fucking visualize seeing this money in my bank account, right? And it's funny now thinking about it, like there's any number could have been in there and I would have thought like, no, this isn't true. But I'm sitting there for like 20 minutes visualizing, pulling up my phone and looking at it and just the feeling of how excited I'm going to feel that my fucking taxes hit. And so then after I'm done, I pull up my phone, I log into my bank account, and I look and my account balance is $3,333.33. I dropped the phone. I was like, oh my God. Not only did they hit, but I have like numerical confirmation that I created that because number 3 represents creation. Like it could have been any other number and I probably still would have doubted it. And I didn't realize that at the time, but afterwards I was like, yeah, if it was any other number, I probably still would have doubted it. Like, yeah, that might be true, but it also could have just been that my taxes fucking hit. But the thing with us with the past is that we tend to because we already experienced it, it really diminishes our level of belief in being able to change the past. Like if I would have pulled up my phone and saw that the taxes weren't in there and then did that visualization, it probably wouldn't have worked because I would have already, my level of belief in looking down at it would have been so much less. Like we were talking about earlier, your level of belief has a lot to do with how much I didn't 100% believe it. I probably would have only 10% believed if I looked and it wasn't already in there. Like, oh, maybe in the next 10 seconds it'll do it. But no, I wholeheartedly, anybody can hear that story and be like, oh yeah, maybe they just randomly got in there. But me personally, and I would be that same person hearing somebody else tell a story like, what the fuck? How does that story mean anything about the past changing? But me having experienced it that way and with those numbers, $3,333.33. And it's not like I had, $3,200 and $100 here. No, I had like $200 to my name before those taxes hit. So, or no, actually, yeah, because that was when I was at University of Cincinnati. So that was actually before I started school. That was in 2011 or 2012. That was exactly 10 years ago this past February. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Backwards. Exactly. But like I said, our level of belief has a strong effect to that. I know everybody told me I'd come in 3 to 4 weeks because that's what happened to them. I took 1 week. Okay, nice. Yes, money in my account. Exactly. Insane. Exactly. I woke up with a vivid thought of 333 this morning. Nice. And then here you are learning the mechanics of manifestation. Beautiful. But so yeah, so the reason that was possible is because I connected with the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is not limited by time. We in the physical reality are limited by time. We're stuck in the present moment. We can't go into the future. We can't go into the past. We're stuck in the ever evolving present moment. But our subconscious mind isn't. That's why, you can have precognitive dreams. That's why you can have dreams re-experiencing your past lives, all types of stuff. So you can go into your future and into your past. Like I reference movies all the time because there's a lot of movies that drop different gems. And one of the reasons why Men in Black 3 is one of my top 5 favorite movies is because of all of the gems in regarding time that they drop. So, like right now we can move through space. Like I said, the 5th dimension is space. So we can't like expand our space and experience all of space at once, but we can move body through space, but we're still locked in time. We can't re-experience time in any kind of way. But when we lock our space and remain still and go within, then we can move freely back and forth through time, right? And so like the movie Men in Black kind of displays that in a way where he has to stay still and move through in one singular space. He's jumping off of one singular space and moving through this one singular space to move through time. And then once he's re-locked into a certain position in time, then he can start moving through space again. And so there's different gems in there on the reality of our experience with space and time through the conscious mind and subconscious mind. But anyways, not to get distracted from what we're talking about, I just wanted to kind of give a little bit more insight to the fourth dimension so that you can kind of expand your own understanding of the possibilities of what you can do with your visualization. Yeah, I mean, like even in that movie, they call him a fifth dimensional being, but I mean, yeah, it could be a fifth dimensional being, but the fourth dimensional powers are what's displayed within that movie. Griffin is his name. He's a fourth dimensional being, so he kind of shows you how he experiences, time. And so I just love that movie. And a lot of other things that they talk about it, like the enemy, the bad guy. Here's another gem. The bad guy in Men in Black 3, his name is Boris, right? Boris the animal. Well, each of these levels of mind have a doorway in order to get into it. And the doorway into the emotional level is Boris. Boris. That's the vibrational key into that level. So there's a lot of gems in that movie. All right. So, like I said, each division of mind has an aggressive duty and a receptive purpose and a power. The power of the subconscious mind is intuition. Intuition is your direct grasp of truth. You can have an intuitive thought. There's no reason why you should know that this is true, but you intuitively know that it is true. It's your direct grasp of truth, regardless of how it got there or what you're seeing as evidence of it. It's true. But the aggressive duty of the subconscious mind is to fulfill the desires of the conscious mind. So like I was talking about, we plant these thoughts here, and then depending on how strong of a thought we've planted or how often we think the thoughts, that will determine which thought the subconscious mind chooses to give its attention and energy to as it manifests down through these other levels out into the physical. Now, this isn't just how powerful of a conscious thought we have and how often we consciously think of thoughts. This also goes for how powerful of an unconscious thought we have, how often we unconsciously think of thought. So like I was talking about personal limitations earlier, one strong one that I had to overcome early on, especially in regards to manifestation is, I need more money. I talk about it all the time because, a lot of people resonate with it as well because they're experiencing it as well. Most people are so focused on manifestation because, we have a poverty consciousness and have experienced poor lifetimes. So, a lot of people can relate to, I need more money. I would get a bill. I need more money. I would even get my paycheck. In the back of my mind, I wouldn't consciously think it. I'd be like, all right, my money finally hit. But in the back of my mind, I'd still be thinking like, man, half this fucking shit is gone. Half the shit was taken before I even got it. I need more fucking money. I would, be walking through the store and I'm only here for the things that I can afford and things that I came for because I need more money. Like I remember the very first time that I walked into a store and I had enough money to buy anything in that store. Like buy the whole store. You know what I mean? It was just like, man, this is it was completely transformational. But anyways, that was an unconscious thought going on in the back of my head. I wasn't consciously thinking I need more money. That was an unconscious thought that I thought so much more than any positive thought about money I had. And so, of course, since that was the most powerful thought in my mind, and not only was it the most powerful, but it was also the most often thought. So it would have the dual effect on me running. So, of course, I was always recreating experiences where I need more money. You know what I mean? Like I remember one time I was like starting to put into practice different I really wanted to focus on money and learn how to manage money, right? But it was from a very totally physical standpoint. This is way before I got into metaphysics. And and so I started saving up money and I saved up $1,500. And I was so excited that I had $1,500 and like extra. Like I had $1,500 plenty of times, but it was like, I had to pay out bills and stuff and all this other stuff coming in. Well, this was like all that was covered, like a month ahead of time. And I had $1,500 extra just sitting there that I can do anything with. Well, like 3 days later, after I like acknowledged this milestone, 3 days later, what happens? My truck breaks down. How much does it cost? 1,300. Oh my God, I'm back into the position of needing more money. I changed the physical, but I didn't change the mental. So I still continued to manifest the same experiences no matter what I tried to change on the outside. You want to see something different on the outside, you have to start seeing things different on the inside. Yeah, can you name listeners? I have that problem, but I'm very frivolous. Yeah, my solution is make more money. Good, good. Now let's combine both and make more money and not create a feeling of needing more money. Like let's make double the money and still more. I mean, I like last year I doubled what I made the year before, and it was wholeheartedly due to metaphysics. Because the month of December and the month of January, or the last month of December and November and December of the year before, I also was completely unemployed. So, it's not like it was just like, oh, I got a promotion into something. It was like, oh my God, I have to recreate something. Oh, wow, I just recreated a completely a job that made double what I was making. So, how do you get rid of such a deep-seated thought? I have the same problem and I make good money. Good. So, Michelle, how do you get rid of such a deep-seated thought? Michelle, have you ever had a garden or like been to your grandma's house and had to weed a garden or something or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay. So, so you understand the difference of just like pulling out the weed and pulling it out by the root, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And sometimes it's a bigger plant, so you have to get the trowel. You can't just like use your fingers and kind of hope you pull the whole thing out. Sometimes you got to get a trowel, dig it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if it's like a big bush, you got to get the axe and the shovel, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you need more than just your hands. You need different tools, right? Well, this is what we're doing here. We're building and strengthening our mental tools: concentration, dream interpretation, visualization. These are all mental tools that will help us to uproot these unproductive thoughts that are deep rooted in there. And so, like for example, the visualization. We can kind of see after what we've been talking about how you can visualize the opposite of what you want, right? So if a belief is a thought that you continue to think, then like for me, I wholeheartedly believed I need more money because my experiences were like very evident. Oh yeah, I do need more money. If somebody came into my life and told me you don't need more money, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm over here doing this on my own. I got all this stuff on my own. Ain't nobody else gonna pay these bills. I got to. I need more money. And I was also, spending like 13,000 in weed at the time too. So, I had habits to so I it was definitely a strong belief. Well, if I want to create something different, I need to create a new belief that counteracted that. So if a belief is just a thought you continue to think, then I need to think a different thought. I am abundant, I am prosperous, I have more money than I desire. I am abundant, I'm prosperous, I have more money than I desire. I had to think because it's been like quite a few years since I did that one. But that was the affirmation that I did. I am abundant, I am prosperous, I have more money than I desire. I'm abundant, I'm prosperous, I have more money than I desire. And so I would say that, I would try to say that 5,000 times a day. So there's the concentration. Yeah. Okay. But
okay, just making sure I'm on the right track.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. How often do you feel you say it? Just like a rough guess. I mean, I'm sure.
Like say the opposite of what I was my rooted feeling?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, several times a day. I don't know.
Like
Morning,
more than
afternoon, or
100?
night. Probably.
You feel like you say it more than 100?
I don't know if it's that much.
Okay. Okay. So if you're not saying it 100 times, like I kind of have a feeling, and I've always said, if you're not saying it at least 1,000 times, you're not getting much progress.
Okay.
Because if it's a thought that's so strong that it is stimulating you to want to carry out this exercise, then it's pretty powerful. And
Okay.
so however often you're conscious of that thought running, it's running in the background way more often
Mm,
because the things in your environment are, unconsciously reminding you, but it's a normal everyday kind of experience. So you're not consciously thinking about it, but you're unconsciously aware of it.
right.
So
Right.
it's running in the back. So if you're not saying it at least 1,000 times, and so if you are saying the new thought 1,000 times, then you're probably saying it more often than you're unconsciously thinking it. So now you're making some good progress, right?
Okay.
So over time, you're going to start seeing more evidence because you're feeding that plant more than the weed is getting fed.
All right. I'm not feeding it enough. Got you.
Yeah. And so that's why, like, whenever I talk about affirmations and things, this is how I approach affirmations, turning them into a mantra, which is what we're talking about. I always share with people that I strive to say it 5,000 times a day. Now, I mean, I'm not going around counting, but I did early on in one of my very first ones. I counted up how long it took me to say it like 10 times. And then I did the math to see like about how much is it going when I'm saying it like all day long. And I made sure to get to a point where it's like that. It took a lot of discipline, a lot of concentration. But after like 2 weeks of trying to say it literally, like it's your only goal in life, for those 2 weeks, you'll get to a point after like 7, 8, 9 days where it's literally like you're falling asleep saying it, you're waking up already saying it, and then you really are saying it like 5,000 times a day. So if at 1,000 times a day you're making some good progress, 5,000 times a day you're getting more than 5 times the speed. It'll so if it's going to take 10 months to really manifest fully, then it'll only take like 2 or 3, more than 5 times the amount because it's exponential, the way the mind works. So I just wanted to drop that seed in there to like, yeah, strive for 1,000, but if you really want to, 2,000, it'll happen twice as fast. You'll get twice the effect, more than twice the effect. But yeah, so that's kind of how you can utilize these different tools in order. So I talked about how visualization can help you uproot that. And then I talked about with the affirmation, how concentration can help you with that. But I also mentioned the tool of dream interpretation. So your dream interpretation can also help you uproot that because what's happening with our dreams? When we go to sleep at night, our consciousness is shifting from the physical body using the conscious mind into the soul using the subconscious mind. So all the things that we're looking at are the images within our subconscious mind. Images are the thoughts. So we're looking at the thoughts that are sitting here lingering, manifesting. So if you're experiencing in the lower astral, a dream, which is mostly where we experience, you're looking at all of the thoughts that have already been implanted in the mental level and have made it down into the astral level and are on the verge of going into the emotional level and manifesting into the physical. So if you see things that correlate with that thought, if you're in a dream and there's a fence that you're just stuck at and you can't get through it, and there's a bank on the other side, then it's like, oh shit, this has to do with money and this limitation that's keeping me away from it. Hey, y'all, let's tear down this fence and make sure it doesn't come up anymore. That's a way where you can use your, well, it'd be lucid dreaming at that point, but maybe, you're only semi-lucid and you kind of make that happen. But that's a way in which you can use your dream interpretation to like cause like this mental surgery in a way to happen where you're helping these other thoughts manifest faster and also helping remove the blockages within your mind by going into your mind and literally removing them. So, that's another way you can use that other mental tool. Now you got the axe and the shovel and the pitchfork all digging up this bush. So great. So my Brainy asks, how about I manifest making double that Warren Buffett made last year? Whew. So that's where we get into the level of belief. How much do you believe that? Maybe start with just doubling your own income. I'm sure that's a lot more believable than doubling Warren Buffett because I don't even know how much he made last a killing. I know that, especially last year, the year before. Yeah, the thought of being in fear always pop up. Yeah. Yeah, you got to remove your attention from that and place it on what you do want. I mean, what should we do as, what should we say as our affirmations though? Well, look at the personal limitations. Look at what the thought is that's creating what you don't want, and then find out what the opposite. First, find out what the root of that thought is. Like for me, there was another time where I was realizing I was always saying I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. And then I discovered that the root of that was I I am sorry that my existence is an inconvenience to you, because I discovered through the rhythmic breathing and things. I discovered that during my birth, my birth was an inconvenience to my mother. So I'm in the womb for the whole 9 months, realizing, wow, my whole entire existence is an inconvenience to my mother. She's debating, terminating and killing me because it's that much of an inconvenience. Luckily, she didn't. And I mean, it wasn't like she thought about that the whole time she was pregnant with me, but it happened because she only knew my dad for like 3 weeks when they became pregnant with me. And so, oh wow, okay, that is at the root of what I'm saying I'm sorry. So I did a lot of work with that, did the rhythmic breathing. Now I don't say it at all anymore. Now I help other people realize what they're doing. Hey, that guy just bumped into you. Why'd you say I'm sorry to him? you know. Okay, I only say I attract, I do not chase. What belongs to me comes effortlessly. I would definitely eliminate nots and don'ts, because like we're talking about with visualization, we are these are images of what we do want. So the mind doesn't communicate in words, so if I couldn't speak and you came into the room and you're like, hey, what do you want? And I held up a book and I kept pointing to it. You're like, oh, a book? You want a book? You're gonna bring me the book. But then when you bring me the book, I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? I kept on saying, I don't want a book. I don't want a book. Look at this book. I don't want this book. You know what I mean? Your subconscious mind doesn't hear the words that you're putting to it. It only sees the image. So if you're imaging what you don't want, then it's going to attract that to you. I don't want to be late. Okay, you want to be late. You're only imaging being late. So as far as I only say I attract, I do not chase. What belongs to me comes effortlessly. Chasing is part of that image. So I would just remove that. And I attract, what belongs to me comes effortlessly. Just leave it at that. You don't have to put I do not chase in there. But I'm not sure if I should change it or not. Nice. Yeah. So yeah, good. Glad I can provide some clarity. Okay, so I'll obsess about it from now on. Let's see, you corrected with that twice tonight. Oh, you corrected me with that twice tonight. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I did. I noticed that. I didn't realize that until just now. Okay, great. So that's the duty of the subconscious mind, is to manifest the desires of the conscious mind, and that's how it determines what it'll manifest. So that's the key part of all of this, that is in regards to the visualization. Now, the purpose, the receptive quality of the subconscious mind, is to store the understandings built through the experiences of the conscious mind. So its whole entire purpose is to store those understandings we were talking about and just hold them available for the conscious mind to access and utilize whenever it needs. Because as we build those understandings, that's when we begin to understand more of who we are. Everything in here, our consciousness using the physical body and the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the soul, and the superconscious mind, and the spirit. The whole purpose of all of this is for us to understand who we are as a consciousness. Because you can observe the body, so you're not your body. You can observe your thoughts in your conscious mind. You can observe your conscious mind, so you're not your conscious mind. You're not any of your minds. You can observe those. You can observe your soul, whether you've done it or not. You can. So you're not, your soul. You can observe your spirit, so you're not your spirit. But try to observe your consciousness. Ask anybody in the world what their consciousness is, and it'll be very difficult for them to describe it, because it's not something that's observable, and so it's very difficult for it to be describable. That's because at your truest essence, that is what you are, your consciousness. And so that essence is what is navigating this field of experience in order to understand itself. And so that's what we do. We have experiences and build understandings from it. We understand ourselves deeper through these experiences. And so, like I said, the power of the subconscious mind is intuition. All right. So to wrap up this first week of visualization, your thoughts create your reality, And the thoughts that you think are the images in your mind. Okay, we really understand that a lot deeper now than we did the very first time it was iterated at the beginning. Or maybe not, maybe you were aware of a lot of this and beautiful. Hopefully just the re-hearing it helped bring forth some own understanding from within yourself. When you master your imagination, you master your thoughts. When you master your thoughts, you become a master of your life. And when you become a master of your life, you become a master of yourself. When you become a master of yourself, you truly unlock anything. Anything is possible. That's what was being described in the Tao Te Ching earlier. All right, so with week 1, what I would like for all of you to do to prepare for next week is write out a list of all of the different things that you desire. Like, just, and it can maybe only be 10 things, 20 things. Maybe you come back with a list of 100 things. Maybe you come back with a list of 500 things. I don't know, whatever you want. But just make a list of, like, it could be experiences that you want to have, qualities that you want to build. It could be goals that you have that you want to achieve. It could be physical, material things. Anything. It could be long term, short term, anything at all. Just if it's a desire that you have, write it down. If it's something you want to manifest, write it down. And then next week, bring the lists back with you. And I'll talk to you about what we're going to do with it. All right, bet. Fun. Great. Okay, so that's the end of the visualization course. Do you all have any questions in regards to visualization from this point? We'll go deeper into it next week, of course. That was a lot longer than I thought it would be.
I don't got any questions.
Okay, great. This is awesome. Yeah, so if you want, I'm going to make this available. Actually, I don't know how soon I'll be able to edit this. I still haven't edited the week 5 of the Dream course, but hopefully I get this edited. I will make it a goal. Okay, I will have this edited by the end of the weekend for sure. And so when it is, I'll put it in the Discord when it's edited, and then if you want to, I would definitely think it'd be a great thing to go back and watch it again. And something that might even be helpful, if you haven't already, watch week 2 of the Dream Interpretation Masterclass, because that mind diagram, I go much deeper than I did today with that. And the conscious mind and subconscious mind, I go a little bit deeper with it, and say a few different things in relation to dreams, but it'll help you understand it better. And then I also go into the superconscious mind as well. What's to say? Also, since I haven't done a full week of the first week of concentration, is it still fine? Like, I don't want to start week 2 without doing a full consistent week of concentration. Yeah, that's what I would. That would probably be the best approach. I didn't recommend that in the class, but I would say that, Jay, that's the best approach with the concentration, the keys to success. Go a whole 7 days and be consistent with it, and then go into week 2. Now, if you're 3 weeks in and you still haven't done the full 7 days, don't keep badgering yourself about it, and just go ahead and go into week 2 and slowly continue to build it up. But in relation to the mind diagram, that was week 2 of the Dream Interpretation Masterclass. So you're fine going and reviewing that. All right, are we going to get into the breathing exercises next week that go along? Yeah, I don't really have any breathing exercises that go along with visualization. But what breathing exercise? Let's see. We have to wait each week to watch the Dream Masterclass content. No. But I would, yeah, what I would suggest for you, Michelle, is, go through it and watch it. Go ahead and go through it and watch it all. But definitely, like, after a week of writing down your dreams and everything, go ahead and watch the second week again. And then after another week of watching your dreams and everything, go ahead and watch the third week again. Give yourself that kind of space, because you're gonna pick up on things. Like if you went and watched and just binge watched all the weeks, all at once, which is great. Don't let me stop you from doing that. It's amazing. It's good. You'll get a lot from it. But that last week, after 5 weeks of actually having dream experiences, working to interpret them, writing them down, applying the message into your life, you'll get a lot more out of it. You'll start to see things that you didn't see before, because you'll be coming from a whole different level of understanding. So there is benefit to waiting, but also there's benefit to watching it all at once, because you'll have a bigger leg up on the next night's dream. So that's why I was saying, do both. Dope. Okay, I see. Okay, I got you. And I have all these journals I bought a few weeks ago, but I'm not sure what to use them for. I'm only using one for dreaming right now. Okay, well, great. You have a journal, one for dreaming. Use the other one for the concentration exercise and making your tick marks. And then you have, because then you'll have a whole after 4 months of doing concentration, you'll be able to have 4 months worth of data to look back and reflect on and identify the changes and fluctuations in your relationship with your attention. It'd be amazing. That's being a scientist. That's being a metaphysician. Awesome. All right. Does anybody have a dream that they remember recently that hasn't been in the Discord chat that they want to share, get interpreted? I forgot to write mine down this morning. Hey, it happens. No worries. Shaniqua, okay, OMG. Must mean she has a dream. I mean, feel free to unmute yourself. Just, speak it out instead of.
What's up, Tarak? I have one.
Hey, Oscar. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Came in kind of late, but the email went to my junk mail. I don't know why it did that, but anyways, I took care of that. But I'll rewind the video. But I had a
Discord
dream.
Chat?
Yeah, Discord, right? Where can I get the link for that?
I'll email it to you.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
I'm gonna make a reminder right now.
Yeah. So I had this dream of my stepfather.
Mm-hmm.
It came up as it's like a wanted. You know what I mean? Like say, oh, he's like those how you see in the movies, like a picture of someone as wanted.
Oh, like a wanted poster? Okay.
Yeah. And I saw him on there.
You saw your dad on it?
My stepdad, yeah.
Your stepdad? Okay.
Yes, sir.
What kind of relationship do you have with your stepdad? Like just general, like is he like a dad to you, or was he ever
no,
like?
he's not. He was just there, pretty much. I would say just there as financial stability, I guess. He was never that father where you have father and son talk, or he would want to give me advice and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how old are you now?
I'm 40.
40. Okay. And
41. Yeah, 41.
How long has he been married to your mom?
They've been together since I was in elementary. I said third grade.
Okay. So that's kind of what I was getting to. Like, were you like young when he was, so he, even though he might not have had that type of relationship, he was an authority figure in your life at a young age.
Yes, sir.
Versus like 10 years ago, ever since you were 30 something,
No, yeah,
he's totally different.
Yeah, like, he's always.
And the reason I was asking that is because someone who is an authority figure is going to represent your inner authority right here, the superconscious mind, right? So he was on a wanted poster.
Yeah, it looked like a wanted poster. Yeah.
Did it say okay? So like a wanted poster is out there. Usually it's for like someone who needs to be locked up, dead or alive. We want this captured.
Yeah.
But also that same type of poster is also used for people who are lost.
Oh, you're breaking out there. It seems
Okay.
like you're, yeah.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I have the participants to the left side of the screen. And so since that's your name, I was like talking to your name. And so I was kind of to the side. Sorry. So oh wait, can you all hear me still? Oh, okay, you muted yourself. Okay. I was just making sure I wasn't completely like lost connection. Okay, so essentially the wanted poster or the lost poster, all of it is essentially this person needs to be found. We need to find this person. And so that's what that's going to represent. You have a desire to connect with your superconscious mind, your spirit, and so it's an image, right? So an image represents visualization. So there's ways in which you have been visualizing, essentially thinking about connecting deeper with your own spirit. When did you have this dream?
I had it last night.
Last night? Okay.
Yeah. And I've been writing down my dreams. I'd say it's since Saturday now. So I've been dreaming every day.
Nice.
But this one came, and it's I'm my dad. I mean, my dad. My stepdad. He just he's he's going through. He just went through. He was in the hospital. They needed to emergency surgery on him, removing his prostate. So, I'm guessing he's going through some things that, he's probably like you just said, by interpreting it. I mean, would that happen to mean like, the other dimensions are like preparing him for, his arrival? Do you think?
Oh no. So every dream that you're having, unless it is a visitation dream, but even then, it's still a message there for you. But all of your dreams are about you. So
Okay.
the dream's not about him.
All right, got you.
Because when you're dreaming, you're shifting from your conscious mind and your physical body into your subconscious mind. So when you're looking around in the dream, you're looking around at the thoughts that were within the subconscious mind. Our thoughts are images, like we talked about earlier. I mean, you weren't here, but you'll see it, and you probably maybe heard me talk about it before. Our thoughts are images. So the images that you're seeing are the ones in your mind. So if there's a message that your subconscious mind has for you about your superconscious mind, then it's going to give you an image to help you to identify that. And so that's why it's using his face. So now to go a little bit deeper than that, because I talked about superconscious mind, we talked about in here, let me pull this back up. So with the conscious mind, we had an aggressive duty and a receptive purpose. The subconscious mind has an aggressive duty and a receptive purpose. Well, your dad or stepdad is going to represent the aggressive quality of the superconscious mind. So to better understand that, first let me display what the receptive purpose is. The purpose of it is to hold the blueprint that you've created for your existence as a soul in each physical body in each lifetime. This blueprint that you have created that you want to fulfill, but you have free will to choose whether you'll fulfill it or not, right? Now, anytime we are in alignment with that purpose or have an idea of becoming in alignment or fulfilling that purpose, we're going to experience some inspiration, some sort of thrilling feeling within us. Those two feelings and emotions are indicators that we are receiving the energy from the superconscious mind, the life force energy, in order to have the energy to fulfill that. We'll jump up and want to call somebody and tell them, or we'll jump up and want to take action on it, right now. Oh man, this is the business I need to be in. I don't even know what my first step is, but I'm about to, get an LLC started today. You know what I mean? You just jump up, get on your computer, got an LLC started, and, because you know that this business is in alignment with what you really need to be doing. That energy that stimulated you to do that, that's the aggressive duty of the superconscious mind, the masculine aspect of the superconscious mind. It fills life force energy. It provides life force energy to the rest of the mind. So, up here, when we move our attention up here and connect either consciously or unconsciously with the plan that we've set out, then the conscious mind sends back to us a surge of life force energy in order to fulfill it. So that is going even deeper into more detail of what that poster is representing and why it chose him versus your mother, or why it chose him versus a male, or I'm sorry, to go even deeper than that, there's also a reason why it chose him instead of a male boss that you either do or don't have, because you can not have a male boss. And dreams will put people in your dream that you've never met before, but you somehow know who they are. You know what I mean? So it could have done that for you, but it didn't. It could have done a male teacher, but it didn't, because that would still represent superconscious aggressive. It could have done a male doctor, but it didn't, because it chose someone who's more along of a parent, because our parents are different. They're more nurturing. I mean, maybe he might not be, but they're more like wanting to give you guidance, wanting to make sure that you have the proper tools to make it on your own in life. Whereas a teacher is just primarily just wanting to tell you and teach you things. A doctor is mostly going to be about, like, healing and wholeness. So with him being the parent, or step parent, but still kind of fulfilling that role to some degree, it's that this is your experience with your superconscious mind is more of feeling like it's guiding you versus feeling like it's telling you what to do. Like if it was a male boss, that would mean that you kind of feel like your superconscious mind is, you kind of feel like your spirit is telling you what to do, versus like with showing his face, it's like you're wanting to connect with your own spirit, and you have a perception of your spirit as something that's there to guide you along.
Got you.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Anybody else have a dream or anything before we go?
Well, I have a question. It's not a dream.
Yeah.
So basically, remember the dream I told you about the shooting? Basically,
With the what?
prior to that, like a few days before that, I was asking for a visitation dream,
Uh-huh.
and my dad was in the dream, but like I didn't have a conversation with him or anything like that, or unless I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah. Was the dream like different than normal dreams, or was he just like there?
He was just there sitting in the chair, like
Okay.
he was just there sitting in the chair. That's it, and like,
Yeah.
and usually he's never in my dreams before, so.
Yeah. So it could very well have been a visitation dream. But it's, in order to like interact with him, it's kind of like on your end to get deeper with your experience with dreams in order to make that connection. So it's like you asked for him to come, he made himself present, and to let you know, like, okay, hey, we can do this. Once you kind of get your legs together, on this side of things, and
I
so
see. I see.
it very well could be that, or it could have just been, a super conscious symbol, but it seems like that's more of what that is.
Okay, I see. I see.
Yeah. So, continue writing down your dreams, continue interpreting them and applying the message. And I would say after like, I mean, you can maybe do it after 3 more weeks or so, but give it like a 2 to 3 months and then try it again. I mean, or try it again in a month and then go 2 to 3 months. Who knows? There's no harm in doing it more often. You know.
Hmm.
But yeah, give yourself some time, and really, really work on deepening your dream experience, talking about dreams more. Really, spend some time on the Awaken Within .us website on the dream glossary. Spend some time watching a lot of those videos, and you know, if you haven't already, watch all of the videos on the Dream Interpretation Masterclass, and just really immerse yourself and make it a strong desire to understand your dreams and deepen those experiences, because that'll just increase and accelerate the amount of time it takes you to get to that point and level of ability to be able to connect with that experience.
Okay, I see.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out of here, y'all. And if there's anything more, you can always hop on the Discord. due to Oscar's question, I already sent you, Oscar, an email with the link, but I'm just going to go ahead and send it to everybody again, just in case anybody didn't get it. Just because, I mean, there's so much value there. And that's where a lot of the communication is going to be on any kind of updates or anything versus emails. Kind of email a little bit, but mostly everything in the Discord. All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys throughout the week, and I'll see you next week.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Peace, peace.